Hello everybody. I'm here today to try and do a video just to express some changes that are coming up in the next few weeks. I guess after 6 months and a bit of things being very different because of COVID-19, I was hoping by this point that things would be back to normal. But as we know, that's not turned out to be the case. And I suppose I just wanted to have a video to have a friendly face to express the changes that are about to unfold. Simply, we as a leadership team have come to a point where we believe we want to try and have our first service back in the building. And there's quite a few things that I need to relay to you today, and there is documentation that will follow up on this video so everybody has all that they need to understand how the situation is and what is going to happen. So the following information is extremely important. It really is. Because unless we grasp it, we will not be able to open the church on 11th of October. The 11th of October at 10:30 as our normal time. But if we don't grasp this information, we're not going to be able to proceed any further. So that's why it's so important, because there's a number of responsibilities, as you'd expect, with this matter. The leadership team has spent many hours looking at this and thinking it through, with advice from here, advice from there, from the Baptist Union, from the government and so forth. And it's highly complex, but we believe we've come up with the best and safest way that we can proceed in reopening our church building on the 11th of October, as I've said. It's the best we can do for our particular context. It's important we understand that, our particular context. So first things first, some details. This first service on the 11th of October will be a test, really, to see how we get on and to see how we manage the changes. And we hope that we will be able to hold a service every week thereafter, in the mornings only. Please note what is obvious, really, that if government changes its advice and there is a second spike with the coronavirus, things could change very quickly and we may well have to close down again. And at the time of writing, I think we all know that is becoming more of a possibility with the cases rising as I speak. So the advice then, here's something that's important for people to grasp at the very beginning before I go on to other things pertaining to how the church will look like on the Sunday itself. Here it is. Government advice is certain groups of people may be at increased risk of severe disease from COVID-19, including people who are aged 70 or older, regardless of medical conditions. Very important we hear that. The second important principle with regard to that is this. Individuals who fall within this group are advised to stay at home as much as possible, and if they do go out, to take particular care to minimise contact with others outside of their household. So on that basis, we want to say that as a leadership team, we want to impress upon you that you're under no pressure whatsoever to attend the services. No one is urging you to do so. It is your choice and it is your responsibility. We would ask you to very much consider the government's advice, to think that through, to ponder on it, and to recognise also that there may well be people already in our church who are uncomfortable about coming back to church, as it is anyway. So we've got lots of different opinions about what we should do, but what people should be doing. But some people already feel uncomfortable and they won't be coming back, whereas others need to make an informed decision. Although we have completed a risk assessment here at the church and taken every reasonable measure to ensure your safety, There will always remain a risk when you come into contact with other people. Please then note this, that if you attend, you will be attending the services at your own risk. And the trustees, the leadership team, cannot guarantee your safety, and neither is it their responsibility to do so. It is your own personal responsibility if you attend the service. So I need to just get those things across. I hope that's understandable and understood. Okay, with all of that in mind, here are our internal practical changes. These are the things that you will see in the sanctuary, within the church building, if you should come along to any of those services, starting, as I said, with the 11th of October and seeing how we do. The first thing is this, and it's one which will not be unfamiliar, to use a double negative. We will need to, at all times, to maintain a 2-metre social distancing. This means that the sanctuary, the church building, has changed in its appearance quite radically since you last came through the door. When I first saw how the sanctuary looked after we'd made some changes in there, it was quite a shock to me, really, because and actually very sad, because actually there are only 35 chairs now in the sanctuary, spaced out with 2 metres apart. And that means 35 people will be able to attend the services, and that includes the stewards, who we are going to need very much so in order to make this work. Because the numbers are restricted, we will be operating, therefore, a booking system to control those numbers. I know this sounds awfully kind of robotic and automated, but it's the only way that we can do things properly and safely. If more than 35 people wish to attend, just say out of all the people that potentially come to our church, roughly 120, if more than 35 want to attend, then we'll need to operate a rota system. And that therefore means you will not necessarily be able to attend every week. Details on how this might work are yet to be finalised, and that's based on the feedback we receive from people and the numbers of people showing the interest in coming to one of the services. Unfortunately, you will not be able to attend unless there is a seat allocated for you. Individual household members will be allowed to sit together, of course, and the seats will be laid out accordingly to manage that. This will not surprise you either. Face masks. Face masks must be worn at all times within the grounds of ABC. As soon as you get into the car park, they must be put on. Masks will be available for those who need them, provided by the deacons who will be acting as stewards. Conversations must be kept to a minimum so as to regulate social interaction. I know that's really, really hard, because obviously church is about the social end of things as well, and seeing people and talking to people. Also, please do not move the chairs. They've been specifically placed for the obvious reasons. And this is even more difficult. There will be no singing at all, except possibly from a reduced band. We're gradually getting there, but these are the things that are necessary, and it's not my idea of fun any more than it is yours. Some additional changes. At ABC, quite a few people provide lifts for others to and from church. Government advice needs to be followed if you are providing a lift for someone to the church service, as it would at any time. When you arrive at the building, unfortunately, you will need to queue with a 2-metre social distancing outside in the car park between household units. Social distancing and limited conversations in the car park are also an unfortunate necessity. You will need to enter the building by the main entrance. On entering the building, you must use the hand sanitizer provided. You'll need to be signed in and signed out of the building as well. And after this, you will then be asked to sit in a specific seat taken to it by one of the deacons, and you should not ask or try to sit anywhere else if at all possible, please. We will fill up the church from the front to the back first, with 2 metre social distancing, of course. At the end of the service, the church will be emptied from the back to the front. At the end of the service, you'll need to leave by the fire exit or a side door, in other words, not the entrance from which you came in, and we'll need to do it in an orderly fashion, maintaining once again that social distancing. We will not, for the month of October, be taking communion, as we have enough to consider. I'm sure you think you'll agree with me on this, with these measures first. We just need to try this out and see how things best develop. Length, time, style and observations. The service will be shorter in duration, and we will also aim to finish within about a 45-minute period of time. The children's programme is not yet sorted out, unfortunately, but that will also need to follow government advice. Although the toilets in the vestibule will be open, please do not use them unless you really need to. And also only one person will be able to go into the toilets at any one time, and please clean the toilet after you have used it. There are guidelines on the wall about toilet use and so forth. There will also, very sadly, I know, not be any after-service refreshments, and we would also ask you to continue to observe social distancing in the car park and limiting conversations accordingly. When the building has been cleared, it will need to be locked for 72 hours, for 3 days, and then cleaned thoroughly thereafter, ready for the next service. So please do not enter the church building between services, is the best way of putting it. Well, it is with great sadness that I have to make a video like this, and great sadness we have to send out corresponding documentation about this. It really isn't what any of us would choose, and it's not our idea of what church is really like or should be like, but we can try and make the best of it in the safest way possible, recognising that it is incredibly important we follow advice throughout. I hope this gives you some idea of how things are going to be. I'm not sure we'll all know exactly how it's going to be unless we meet. And I know that you'll be sitting 2 metres apart from other people, but I do believe that if we come back together and it is in this format, God can still speak to us and God can still bless us and he can do a work in our lives even so. For God isn't stopped by these things. We just need to be informed and make the right decision. For those who feel uncomfortable about coming back to church, please feel free to phone or to email Derek, Clive or myself with any questions you may have. There could be loads of questions, but you know, even if you don't come back to church, all the stuff that we've been sending out on email, on the internet, will continue even so. So we have those two things happening. The church service on the 11th of October, but also we will get out all that information that we have been doing in recent times. So no one's going to feel left out or feel in a secondary place to anybody else. So God bless you richly. And I really mean that. Let's be praying because these are important times. Take care and thanks for listening to me today.